Fighting. It's been a part of humanity since the dawn of time, and though humans may have evolved past the need for daily physical combat just to survive, you'd be lying if you said it wasn't still a big part of our culture. Tens of thousands of people fill up stadiums just to watch boxers knock the slobber out of each other. Millions more buy the pay-per-view or stream it illegally. Fighters achieve vast wealth and fame. Movies get made about combat sports and make a killing at the box office, or become cultural centerpieces and sprout many sequels. Why? Why are we so attracted to fighting? Well, it's pretty simple. Fighting is just cool. It's fun to see two people enter a ring or a cage and kick the tar out of one another. So with fighting being such a massive and important form of entertainment, it's only natural that manga artists would use it for their stories. Now, there are many series about combat sports, though mostly boxing. Everyone knows Hajime no Ippo, Holy Land, Ashita no Joe, Baki the Grappler, Kengan Ashura, and so on. These series are classics. They're great. Everyone should know them. But I've got 3 lesser known manga about fighting that I think everyone should know too. 3 series with 3 distinct flavors, a little something for everyone. A gritty, bloody rivalry, a kid who crawls through the pits to make it to the top, an underdog who pieces his skill set together and prevails. If one of the series isn't for you, just try the next. But I promise that if you like fighting manga, if you like action, you'll very much enjoy at least one of these series. Without further delay, here are 3 fighting manga that will blow you away. What do we, as readers, want to see in a protagonist? Specifically, a protagonist of a fighting manga. Usually what we get is a well-mannered, respectable young man. And that can be great, seeing an honest young guy turn into an absolute beast. But what if their protagonist was crass, rude, obnoxious? Furthermore, what if the character was the son of a murderer, and the entire series that character had to face that flawed perception of himself? Ishida Ryoga, the main character of Black Box, is exactly that. He is very blatantly rude, sometimes obscene, and now that may sound unlikable, but honestly that's exactly the charm. Ryoga is a teenager whose father was arrested for murder, and a month prior to the events of the story, so was his brother. As he tries to enter the boxing world, he is immediately labeled as a thug, someone with no prospects, and is subsequently dismissed. I mean, can someone like him even box? Yes, he can, and he's damn good at it, destroying his early competition with no effort. See, the thing about Ryoga is that he doesn't care what people call him, doesn't care if people dismiss him. His focus is laser-like, his determination unwavering, and his sights are set on the world title. We follow Ryoga as he trains, racks up wins, and makes a name for himself in the boxing world. He quickly grows notorious, with his reputation of being from a family of murderers, and with the way he finishes all of his matches. Where the story really kicks into gear is when a character by the name of Leon is introduced. Leon is a kickboxing champion, and at a banquet he and Ryoga get into a fight, ending with Leon getting knocked out. Now that fight sparks a rivalry that dictates the course of the rest of the story. Leon switches from kickboxing to boxing in pursuit of Ryoga, and from there on they have multiple fights which, no joke, are legendary. It's rare to see such a fierce rivalry, one this compelling, especially for a series that's only... wait. 42 chapters. I read this series in like a day, and when I got to the end, I could not believe it. There's so much to this story and these characters that when you're done, it feels like you read over 100 chapters. It is the greatest example of bang for your buck I have ever read in manga. 42 chapters of amazingly choreographed fights, very emotional drama, and surprisingly profound character development for such a short series. I cannot recommend this series enough. If it sounds good to you, stop watching this video and go read it now. Just kidding. Keep watching because the next 2 are bangers as well. It's hard to make it as a fighter without being tough of body and mind, and sometimes the best fighters had the nastiest, most brutal upbringings you could imagine. Well, in this series we're introduced to the main character using his abusive father's hanging corpse as a punching bag. Yeah, it's really messed up. So this is Riku Azumi, and this kid has got that dog in him. We're also introduced to Tokurazawa, a Yakuza certified badass and a mentor of sorts to Riku. So as a mentor, naturally what he does is punch Riku in the face and smash his dead father with the nastiest straight punch you'll ever see. Of course though, I mean, how else would he teach Riku how to throw a punch? So Tokurazawa helps Riku to go live with his mother. Yay, happy ending, finally a real home, right? Nah, his mother is an addict and lives with another addict who let his kid die and threw the corpse into a closet. This kid just cannot catch a break. The dude attacks him and Riku has to kill him in order to escape. At face value, this may just seem like brutality for shock factor, but it actually plays a very important part in forming who Riku is. With such horrific experiences as a child, he grows into someone with incredible mental fortitude, which is crucial for being a boxer. We find out that Tokugawa was a boxing champion, and when he gives Riku a pair of boxing gloves, he sends him on the path to become a boxer himself. Riku ends up at an orphanage and begins training at a gym, and that's when we skip 7 years into the future. It's not long after this that Riku blows through the pro test, becomes a professional boxer, starts racking up wins, and declares his intent to claim the same belt that his mentor Tokugawa held. There's a couple things that stand out about this series. First off is the art. Now that means the drawings, the paneling, the choreography. It's like the style was curated specifically for a gritty action manga. The line work is dark, there's lots of screen tones, and the panel flow allows for snappy, easy to follow fights. Not to mention the way exchanges of blows are drawn. The impact of the art is outstanding. The next thing is the tone of the story. Like I said, it's gritty, it's dark, it's mature, and every chapter of it feels like a struggle. It's super fitting for the subject matter, and it's a perfect depiction of the tribulations of becoming a great boxer. Rikudou is over 200 chapters long, so there's plenty of material to sink your teeth into. And everything good about the early stages of the story just get better and better as it goes on. Rikudou is one of the grittiest boxing manga I have ever read. You typically don't have series that show the underbelly of society in as plain a view as this series does. You see just how depraved and how dark and how terrifying the sport of boxing can truly be. Rikudou is well worth the time it takes to read, but if it doesn't seem interesting to you, maybe this next one will. Most fighting manga are about boxing. The previous two in this video are, and that is far from an issue. Boxing is awesome, but sometimes you gotta mix it up. Sometimes you gotta watch some MMA. This isn't martial arts like Baki where dudes are getting ripped up or exploded from a 1-inch punch. This is real sanctioned MMA. The story begins by introducing us to two characters, Meguru and Takashi, who both practice karate. The two of them encounter some bullies and despite knowing the basics of karate, are destroyed and vow to become stronger. To make matters worse, Takashi's father gets into some shady business dealing with Yakuza. The Yakuza kill him and frame it as a car accident. Now after attacking the Yakuza who killed his father, Takashi gets beat up brutally by those goons. Despite that compelling backstory, Takashi is not our main character. The character we follow is the rather unassuming Meguru, who 7 years later trains at an MMA gym. Meguru is approached by his coach, who asks him to enter a local amateur tournament. Meguru agrees, but to his surprise he sees that the opponent for his first ever match is none other than Takashi, who he hasn't seen in years and who has changed. It becomes immediately clear that Takashi is leagues beyond Meguru in this sport, as he slams him with kick after kick, then takes his back and chokes him out. Quick work, no sweat, no challenge. Takashi just brushes Meguru off and continues on his way, leaving Meguru to ponder the history between them. What makes this series really stand out is that Meguru is not some special talent. He isn't just naturally good at fighting, nor does he have some tragic story. That archetype is reserved for Takashi, who acts as a sort of secondary main character. Meguru doesn't even win most of his early fights, and the wins he does get come from a combination of getting somewhat lucky and pushing himself to the brink. What Meguru has isn't immense talent or a tragic backstory propelling him forward. What he has is a heart that makes him work harder than others, one that doesn't allow him to quit. He may not have amazing striking, jujitsu, or wrestling, but he has a little of everything and a propensity to keep pushing forward. He is a very endearing character. You can't help but love him and cheer for him, and because of all the grueling work he puts in, those moments where he actually wins a fight are seriously some of the most satisfying moments I've read in the genre. This series has many fantastic characters you follow and grow attached to as they make their journey in the MMA world, but by far the two most important are Meguru and Takashi. The dynamic between them, the contrasting paths they take, that's what drives this story forward, and it's one of the most interesting and layered rivalries I've read in any manga. Honestly, out of all three of these series, my number one is Rounder Meguru. While there are things the other two do better, overall I think Meguru hits higher peaks and is more consistent, which is fitting considering the title. It's an all-rounder of a series, and if you could only pick one of these three to read, I'd for sure go with this one. Lately I've been in a bit of a manga reading slump. Haven't really been trying new series, haven't really been keeping up with much. But doing the reading I needed for this video kinda busted me out of it. I came away from it having read 3 amazing series I'd not heard much about prior to this, and I feel rejuvenated, ready to plunge back into the abyss that is being a manga reader. Since my last video, I've upgraded my workspace by a not insignificant margin, and I hope that it's reflected in the quality of the video. Now, I'm searching for manga recommendations. If you've got a fire manga you want to share, drop it in the comments below. New, old, shonen, seinen, shoujo, preferably not, but I'd try it. Doesn't matter. Send me as many recommendations as you physically can, and I'll do my best to get to the ones that sound most interesting. If you like this video, I ask that you click that like, subscribe, maybe comment and share with a friend, but no pressure. Either way, thank you as always for watching, and until next time.